Oh, now we are. Good morning and welcome aboard the news review segment on the AM show. And let's usher in our guest and then we get the conversation started. Joining us this morning is Dr. Asah-Asante. He's head for the Center of European Studies at the University of Ghana, also a political scientist. And then we have Dr. Jibril Mohammed, senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School. Let me start by saying good morning to Dr. Asah-Asante.
Good morning, Sweetie. Good morning, Ojo. And good morning to our viewers.
Great. Thank you, Doc. We also have Dr. Mohammed joining us. Good morning, Doc.
Okay, so he's here to join us.
Right.
Would bring him on board.
Okay. Then let's start with Doc's comments for us this morning. Doc, there's so much happening actually in the country right now. I wonder what your take would be on, but take us away, please. Your 2 minutes.
I want to look at this phenomenon where anytime government comes to office, supporters who work through thick and thin and got the government into office will turn around and hold the government to ransom, especially when appointments are made and do not favor them or their candidate for that matter. They rise up in arms against the government. I want to look at that. It is a phenomenon that is becoming one too many, and the earlier we dealt with it, the better. How do we deal with this? We must understand that governance is a continuum, and power which is given to holders of political power are vested in those people, by the people, and for the people, and for the good reasons that are given to them. So it is only the appointing authority that has the power to decide who fills which position and at what point in time. When that is done and somebody has a problem with it, all that you do is to appeal, then resort to what? Violence, noise, and then some even besiege places to make sure that people do not occupy their offices and all that. These are illegalities.
Right.
And at best, they usurp the powers of the state. But we are saying that the way forward to this is what? One, you manage your expectations. And then the state also must take the trouble to create employment. When people are employed and they can earn a living or make ends meet, at the end of the day, political appointment will not be attractive to anybody because you can make ends meet. So the way forward is to build a solid economy and get everybody on board than people rooting for people so that when they are into office, they can also have something from them. That order should change.
Thank you so much, Doc.
All right, so we have Dr. Jibril also joining us. Jibril Mohammed is also a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School. Dr. Jibril, good morning and thanks for joining us here.
How are you? Good morning to all our listeners.
Okay, we are well. We hope that you are well too. But I want to start from the News Center newspaper today.
Okay.
There's an interesting story.
We haven't given Dr. Mohammed that opportunity
Jibril.
to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So give Jibril that.
Right, Doc. Well, Kojo, looks like you might have to continue with the paper.
Thank you. I'm here.
Okay.
Good morning. I want to take you back to what happens during the weekend at Sapema. I remember that about 12 footer containers were discovered, with dollars, cedis, and gold. We are in a state of an economy that is nearly bankrupt. I believe that such amount of money, they should carefully look at it. I heard they said it was counterfeit, and I don't believe that was really a counterfeit. We have to really look at the currency.
No, there were some counterfeit notes and some actual real currencies. That's what the report said.
Well, it was going to be exported. And what is the evidence that the currency was really counterfeit? Where were they taking the money to? We have to really investigate that. The security
Look like we are getting some network interruptions from Dr. Jibril's side, but as and when he gets, he reconnects, we will usher in him again.
Exactly, yes.
Kojo, you were going to get into your
Let's
paper.
go back to Dr. Asah-Asante. Let's start from the news center.
50 billion
Paper. Okay.
Dr. Jibril Mohammed, so I would like you to get off and reconnect with us because we are getting some interruptions to your network. All right, so while you do that, we'll continue with the newspapers.
Okay, now the newspaper, the News Center newspaper has a story. It says armed soldiers and police raid Ofori-Atta's house, though government knew he is abroad on medical treatment. And the story is on page 2 of that paper. It says, in a shocking and deeply troubling event, armed soldiers, police personnel, and plainclothes security operatives stormed the residence of former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta on the morning of Tuesday, February 11, 2025. Eyewitnesses recount that despite demands from Mr. Ofori-Atta's security team for a legal search warrant, the armed operatives forcefully entered the premises, ransacked the house, found nothing, and left. What is even more alarming is that this lawless action took place when the government knew very well that Ken Ofori-Atta was out of the country seeking medical attention. Well, Dr. Asah-Asante, I don't know what you do make of this development, where the paper is telling us, or is reporting, that without a search warrant, a joint team of military, police, and plainclothes officers ransacked the house of the former finance minister. I mean, should that be the trend going forward? How do we cure this?
It must be condemned in its entirety. This is never done in any civilized society, where if you want to arrest people, there are rules of engagement that you go through. Any other thing short of it is nothing but what an illegality that need to be condemned. Those who took part in that, they need to look for them and then pose questions to them for them to answer. It is totally wrong. But you see, it is becoming one too many in this country. I have heard stories from people in government today where also when the NDC lost power, people went to their homes in such, Rambo style and then did similar things. I have heard about the Fiamakwe story and others. These are gory tales of human rights violations that we don't need them in this country. This is a country of law, for Christ's sake, and that any other person who wants to do anything in this country must follow the due process. So we as a society must put our foot down and ensure that we don't have a recurrence of this. Otherwise, we are making a mockery of our democracy. This is totally wrong, and it will not be accepted anywhere in a civilized society.
Does it say what they're looking for?
Well, the paper just said they didn't specify, but because they didn't see anything, after ransacking it, they left the house, just like that. I mean, so probably nobody knows what they were looking for. If they had found what they were looking for, probably they would have taken it along with them. But Doc, is it not because there's lack of structures in terms of how we handle, a change in government within that period when a government has lost power and another government, a government in waiting, has won? That's why all of these do happen.
Oh, there are structures. There are structures because the basic principle is what rule of law. That if you want to go to somebody's home, whether there is a new government or old government, there must be a search warrant. You produce that, and then the processes follow. So on what basis are you going there? Any other, approach will be like an armed robber entering into your home. And for me, that is what is worrying. We are punishing innocent people unnecessarily. I mean, yes, you can have somebody in mind that he is, he has done something wrong, and you want to deal with that person. There's nothing wrong, but you use the law. The approach is what we are talking about. Remember, rule of law consists of two components: equality before the law, due process. So one says that nobody is above the law, and that the other one is that any decision you take in the state must reflect the laws of the land. Is that the case? It is not. The approach is totally wrong, and it should not be the case. And it's been happening all the time that we change power just because we want to settle scores. But remember, two wrongs do not make right.
Interesting.
We need to be worried about that.
Dr. Mohammed is also on. I don't know if you follow the story, Doc. This is a chance to also get a bite at it.
Yes, I follow the story, and I think that, as my former lecturer said, it's totally wrong. You cannot raid somebody home because you think, you suspect that he's hiding something there. If you have an issue with him, take him to court. That is why the courts are there. There is no place for anybody to raid anybody home. It could be you and I. One day, anybody can raid our homes because they have a suspicion about us. I think that is totally wrong. Let's follow the due process and let us watch the democracy that we have as a country.
Well, thank you there. Are there more stories in your paper?
Chief of Staff sacks persons employed after December 7 is here. Also in this paper, Okada riding to be regularized by March. That's according to Transport Minister. And also President Mahama inaugurate 120-day social contract task force. So I'm interested in these three stories. Dr. Asante, these three, Chief of Staff sacking personnel employed after December 7, Okada riding to be regularized by March, according to Transport Minister, and then President Mahama inaugurating 120-day social contract task force. Which of the three would you want to take a bite on? All of them are quite interesting.
I'll look at the Chief of Staff sacking a number of public servants. Okay. That's what I want to look at.
Okay.
Yeah. If you look at that story, it is very unfortunate. You see, there are processes by which we get people into the public service. One, through advertisement of qualities of people that they want, and then set skills that the office needs. Then two, you look out for application will follow, followed by examination, followed by interview, and then if you gain the job, you go through medical examination, and then you will resume work with your schedule and all that. Why would our leaders appoint people not based on these lines, and only to create a problem for them or create disaffection for the government that want to get them out of office? It is unfortunate. We don't stab a new government at the back like that. It's not the best. And those people who also want to be engaged simply because you are looking for a job, please look at it through what legal means. Otherwise, once you cross the line and they want to regularize the system, you'll be thrown out. The whole issue is about merit. It's public service hinges on meritocracy. Without merit, I am afraid you'll be thrown out. So we have to shy away from appointing political apparatchiks into the public service and then making sure that they bypass all the rules of engagement and getting them in by hook or crook. A day will come that they will not find place within the public service. And that is the day we'll have here. It's unfortunate we are having this, but that is the way to go.
All right. Dr. Jibril, how do we ensure such a development? Or we have three issues. I don't know if you also want to take a bite on that, or you want to look at another subject matter that we put forth.
Well, I think Dr. Asah-Asante has dealt with it extensively. There is no place for it. I believe that it is so. There is no place for it. Now, if you look at the Okada issue, it's been a campaign promise even by the two major political parties. The fact that they have to regularize the process. It's a source of income generating for the country. I think other countries have it. They have it, and they have a uniform. They have the nature of the bike they're supposed to be using, etc. It is not right to allow people to continue to be that kind of informal sector without putting in the proper regulations. So if we are able to do so, we can even tax them, and we can generate enough resources to be able to maintain our roads and also to support the development of the country. It should not be just an informal sector. It should be a formal sector that is also bringing an income to the country. On the issue of the social contract theory, I think that, yes, if you enter into a social contract with the people, you have to deliver. And I believe that by the principle of state accountability, You have to be accountable. The government has been giving us communication updates on every month, telling us what they are doing, etc. If a task force, I don't even think you need a task force. The chief of staff should be able to track all of this so that we save our taxpayers' money. You don't have to set up another analogous institution to do so. It should be done by the chief of staff office, but not setting up another institution. That is the way to spend our money. Let's ensure that we are already in a very difficult situation. So we should not be setting up a lot of parallel institutions that will come in for only to consume but not to do anything much when there are other institutions.
Doc, this isn't an institution, is it? I mean, it's a task force, more like a committee.
And what if we're even told that they are going to work like Oral did without any remuneration or whatever?
Well, well, if it is that so, that's fine. But I don't know whether you cannot, you say you will not work with that. Definitely there will be some funds allocated for it. There is no free lunch in any economy.
Okay.
Well,
let's get into the Ghanaian Times newspaper now. On the front page, just what we were talking about. President inaugurates task force to realize his 120-day social contract with the Ghanaian people. Regions elect reps to Council of State. And on that, I mean, that's that story.
Yeah.
We brought to you in our news bulletin this morning. And it appears we are unable as a country, Kojo, to hold elections, conduct elections without a sprinkle of chaos. We are seeing 67-year-old men, 76-year-old men who are, in the bid to become members, elders of the Council of State, but also marred with violence, pockets of chaos here and there. Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante.
You cannot understand why that happens, but maybe we, as a country, we need to have time and think through our electoral processes to find out how do we take out these, pocket of chaos from these elections, because the Council of State really, I didn't expect to have this, but it has. So maybe going forward, we need to tackle all of those.
Doc, let me throw this to you. Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante, two things really. First, the pockets of chaos and violence that marred this, which was supposed to be a very simple election, actually. And then two, the attention that it got from the media. For me, as a journalist, it was until somewhere last week that I even heard that there was an election like this going on. And I don't know how, when you heard it, and what role we can play to amplify the importance or significance of this in the media. But first, on the chaos that's marred the elections.
Chaos has no place in any electoral process. Democracy is a civilized business, and we do it with decorum. And then what? You temper everything and make sure that the best of things happen. Because at the end of the day, whoever has lost election must accept defeat and abide by the rules of the game. This is the spirit behind any democratic enterprise. So it is conducted based on rule of law, and the people work within the space of what rule of law. It is not surprising that I'm seeing this, because at the national level, we glorify these things, we amplify them, we support violence, strictly speaking. So how does it deviate?
We support violence, Doc.
Don't we support violence? We support violence in various forms. Because one, people go and bribe their ways. People go and buy votes. People go and work against the standard practice, all right? I mean, go and destroy things at collation centers, at, polling stations and all that. What happened to them? They get away with that. Is it not a tacit admission of guilt? Are we not supporting these things? All right, but if we as a society, all right, people go through these things and they are punished, it will serve as deterrence. We go to elections and go and gun people down. And then, there is no place for justice for them in terms of justice and all that. Is it not violence are we supporting? But you see, any society that travel on this journey, you're going to have a problem. I'm not a prophet of doom, and I'm not wishing that for my country. But you see, it is a problem we have identified. Look at national politics, where political parties introduce vigilantes. Are they not criminal organizations and violent people who are in that space? So I will not be surprised that election of this nature, that the caliber of people who are more, respected, who are people who hold in high esteem, and then you find things like this happening, then there's a problem. Then there's a big problem.
Right.
But if we want to do away from this, we have to get the basics right. Let nothing but the law regulate the conduct of election. Any human being who breaches the law must face the full rigor of the law. And let us make sure that all these problems we identify, let's nip them in the bud. Otherwise, we'll end up promoting violence all the time, even though we don't like violence. But by our action and inactions, we promote violence and we destroy processes that are so beautiful, we destroy them. Coming back to look at it, the prominence given to it, I am also not surprised, because we are in this country, important things people pay little attention to. Look at even local government elections. Anytime we are going in for that, very little, prominence is given to that, as if it is not important. But grassroots elections are so critical. And so is what? Elections for what? Council of State. Because if you look at the work that Council of State have to do, it's a tall order, even though I disagree that we want to have them as a body which is just an advisory body. I want to have them as what? A second chamber, because of the quality of people that are in there. So their decision will be binding on government of the day. But that aside, this is what we have now. But let's save it. Give it prominence. Let people know about it. Discuss issues about them. Let people appreciate the work that they do, so that at the end of the day, we will not shove the beauty of the system under the carpet. Because there are a lot that they do, but we seem not to have ideas about them, because media give it very little prominence. But we give prominence to other things that are unnecessary. These are very important things. I'm afraid. I'm a journalist myself, but this one, we should take the flag as journalists.
But Doc, who should drive that campaign? Yeah. Who's responsible for amplifying what's going on when it comes to the election of these 16 regional reps for the Council of State?
Obviously, you have political actors within the space. One being Electoral Commission itself, by educating us, because one of the basic roles of Electoral Commission to give political education and voter information. It is the duty of the election management body. Yeah. You give voter information about the upcoming election, and then you give education about what to do, what not to do. Then you also usher us into the process by carrying everybody along the process. So Electoral Commission is the first port of call. Not only that, we have also those who are going to contest. Obviously, they want to sell themselves. Have they sold themselves enough for the world to see, to know that they are contesting something like this? Of course, NCC also clothed with the responsibility of making us know about this and giving us enough education to augment what Electoral Commission is doing. Did they also play their role as expected? Then we also want to bring along the media, because if you're talking about free and fair elections, one of the pivots around which free and fair hinges is the issue of a free media. We have a free media, so what prevents the media to also the little information, blow it up and make sure that we follow the conversation. And then above all, individuals within the political space, individual political actors, you and I must also take the conversation to another level, to let people know that this is a serious exercise, it's so important, and we need to follow. We all got it wrong, and we need to blame ourselves, not only the media, but every political actor that I've spoken about in this political space. We are all guilty.
Well, we all got it wrong. Dr. Jibril, I'm throwing that to you. Your reflection on the just ended, although some regions haven't yet concluded on that, but what did you make of the regional elections for the Council of State elections, I mean?
Well, if you tamper with democracy, you tamper with justice. And I believe that is justice that has been tampered with. And one of the philosophers says that the people will only be free if they obey the laws they themselves have made. Have we obeyed the laws that we have made for ourselves? Absolutely no. If we obey the laws, the constitutions, the rules set up by Electoral Commission, we are not going to be damaging, or we are not going to be causing chaos in any electoral space. As Dr. Asah-Asante says, chaos have no place in electoral politics. It is a contest of ideas. come and contest your idea and make sure that your ideas win you the vote, not chaos that is going to bring you into power. So we should shun away from some of these things, because this is what has happened. In the past, people have been killed. Nobody did anything about it. So there is no any room for them to do anything. If they do it, people will not care about it. That is how come that they continue to do it. If in the past, all those who committed the crimes were prosecuted and sent to prison, today we will not have had that in the place. The caliber of people to be elected are very important. And I don't see that we should have some of these things happening in this particular election.
Right.
If any election at all, fine, but not this particular election.
Okay, thank you. Let me run through some quick headlines here, and then we'll move on to another paper. Minister comments Ghana Water Company Limited reaffirms government's commitment to universal water access. That's the Minister for Works, Housing and Water Resources, Mr. Kenneth Gilbert Ejing. And he's commended Ghana Water Company Limited for its efforts in expanding EBA water supply and improving service delivery. And he went on to reaffirm the government's commitment to ensuring universal access to potable water. My question is, are we dealing with galamsey? President urges Chinese investors to explore business opportunities in Ghana. And the President, John Dramani Mahama, has extended an open invitation to Chinese investors to be on the lookout for business opportunities. Just one quote and we go to something else. Ghana is open for business again, and I invite our comrade Chinese investor community to look at the opportunities Ghana has to offer, and let's create a win-win situation for our two people. And that was at the Chinese Lantern Festival that was held at the University of Ghana. Am I the only one, Kojo, who raised an eyebrow? No malice intended, but was I the only one who raised an eyebrow when I saw the president there at the Lantern Festival? This is a Chinese program, festival of a sort. I have no problems that they're doing it here. We have a huge number of Chinese population in the country. But for the president to attend,
the thing is that last year we were told that the trade between China and Ghana was up to $111 billion.
Right.
If that is the case, of course, they become critical to your economy.
Right.
And therefore, whatever they do, you need to show face. You need to be there.
Okay. Doc, what did you make of it? Did you feel any type of way about the president showing up at the Lantern Festival?
As Kweju has said, whether we like it or not, Chinese is a big actor within the global political economy. A lot of things that they are doing. Look at your projects, infrastructure, that they support you in exchange for minerals and the rest of them. They are playing very important role and all that. But I follow that. But my question is, where are Ghanaians? The president is what, encouraging them, supporting them to, as it were, take advantage of our society, of our system, and then also support us to build capacity. And there's nothing wrong about that.
Okay.
But we should look at the convex of that argument. And that argument is that where are our people themselves? Let us also encourage our people, local people, grow them within the local space so that they can take advantage of their own society and build them to the best of their abilities. I mean, nobody can do it for you. Look at what is happening in America. It should send a clear signal to us that we need to build our own. They are getting illegal immigrants out of the country. Nothing wrong about it. People who are condemning, they have their own problem. I don't want to look at it. It is your duty to build your own. And what I am seeing as a student of international politics, I will not be surprised that when this thing gain currency, it will rub off with Europe. And you see Europeans also following suit. Once Americans get their basics right, it can be followed by Europe and other countries. If you don't take care, a time will come, you will be not permitted to come and play that, perform that menial jobs or the role that you play and all that. Build your own. And I don't begrudge those Western powers who want to right their wrongs in their country. Build your own. So I will encourage my president, the government of this country, that whilst we want to encourage the Chinese to come and then help us to build capacity, we ourselves to take the initiative and build our own. I am saying this because parties will come to office and then they undermine business people who are with the other side of the political divide. it is not good enough. Build business people within all the political tradition so that, remember, they are Ghanaians. They can help us. Look at what Dangote is doing in Nigeria. People build them.
Right.
So today, one of the news items I listened to from your network is that we have very little capacity in terms of toll. And then we have a lot of people who are working there, idle hands and all that. If we have built business people within the Ghanaian political space, irrespective of their political tradition or orientation, by now they'll be doing something of this nature for us.
Right.
Look at people like the president brother, the wonderful things he's doing, his cement factory and other. And you saw attack on him initially. Today, that cement is there and creating more jobs for our people. Let us not target business people. Let us build capacity for our own people and develop them to the best.
All right.
The issue of Ghana Water Company. You pose an interesting question. Now, what happens to Galamsey? Yes. Are we saying that Ghana Water Company is out of the woods yet? Because very in no time we've heard that some of they are out. Their branches, they want to shut them down because of what? The threats against what? Regular supply of water due to what? Galamsey activities. Has it stopped? It tells us that we should not lose sight on the fight against Galamsey. And I commend your station because the hashtag is on. Stop Galamsey now. Let us all put our wheels to the what? Our shoulders to the wheel and build that society that we can regulate what or regularize the Galamsey activity. We'll get resources, we'll get employment, and at the end of the day, we'll save the ecosystem and get water for ourselves. Water is life. It is an inalienable right. A right, when taken away from you, you cease to be a human being. We need water at all times. Otherwise, a day will come, we import water, and that is the day you and I don't want to know.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante. I hope I don't live in an era where we have to import water in this country. But Dr. Mohammed, a quick bite at these stories and move on to other papers.
Well, first of all, I think that Chinese are important, but as said already, we have to build our own capacity. We have to build our own economy. If you bring in foreign investors into your economy, you are only creating jobs and capital flight at the same time. Even though they will make the profit and they will take the profit away. And it's your economy that tends to suffer at the end of the day. But if you're able to grow your own locals, they have the capacity, they're able to develop, they employ, and they expand an economy. Then at the end of the day, it is your country that is going to benefit in double. Your money stays in your country, and at the same time, you employ a lot of people. So I believe that we should be encouraging our own businessmen here to be able to develop a good capacity that can retain our jobs, not that there are temporary jobs. Some of the foreign investors just come in. After they have had their tax holidays and it's over, they pack and leave. What are we doing about that? And we give them a lot of tax exemptions. All of these tax exemptions can be given to Ghanaians, and Ghanaians can use that to develop our own capacity. A lot of examples have been cited. I don't think that we should continue with political witch hunting, where a business owned by another political party is being destroyed. We have seen that in the past, a lot of it, we have seen it. I don't think that the current administration to take that path. They should bring them on board, especially 24-hour economy is coming. They should bring them on board, let them work around the clock, and let us develop our own country. This country is for us, it's not for anybody. Now, on the issue of the Ghana Water Company, water is life, as he said. Goal 6 of the SDGs talks about clean water and sanitation. Without water, you cannot have better sanitation.
Oh, unfortunately, we have bad connection there. But let's get to some other stories.
So I think the amount I mentioned earlier is 11.84 billion.
Okay.
Ghana China trade hit 11.84 billion in 2024.
That's significant.
That's significant. But I agree with comments by our resource persons that we need to build local giants. It's important. No country relies on a foreigner to build for him. So we need to ensure that we identify the people we can support. Russia did it. China has done it. All the Chinese guys we see, they built them locally and decided that let's export.
You're going too far. Burkina Faso.
Oh.
They started building and assembling, I think, their own, car, electric vehicles, which they are ready to export. And they're doing everything in Burkina Faso. They are not going to seek international aid anywhere. It's theirs. Anyway.
We didn't do that for Apostle Kojo Safo Kantanka.
Chale, where is he?
He's there.
And let me just butt in.
Yeah.
And let me just butt in, sweetie.
No.
Is it not, very worrying that we go to Burkina desert area where we have arable lands here, we produce all manner of crops, go and buy what vegetable that? Shame on to you.
Tomatoes,
Dogs, shame on to us. Okay, let's do the custodian newspaper. Akufo-Addo Bawumia paid tribute to Sam Nujoma. He was the founding president of Namibia. Minority flees Mahama over scandalous withdrawals of criminal cases. Confirmed, oral committee based $21 billion loot on rumors. Government to license Okada riders. Northern Jura citizens push for Herbert Dixon as Enzima East MCE. Yeah, the lobbying starts. So they want...
Your people are winning.
Say again?
Your people are winning?
My people. Yeah, I mean, okay, let me see. I'm interested in the Hunter West. It hasn't come out yet.
Okay.
But let's see how it goes. But let's do with the oral committee one. It says, it has now emerged that majority of the findings of the operation recover all loot committees are based on their shared rumors that need further investigation to merit possible prosecution. In presenting their report to President John Dramani Mahama on Monday, February 10, 2025, Chairman of the Oral Committee, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, claimed they have identified $21.19 billion in potential recoveries from looted state assets and undervalued land sales. But according to this paper, what is coming out is that a lot of it were based on just mere rumors.
That must be our interview from yesterday.
It looks like, that we were told that apart from the 33 cases, a lot 36. Of it is just based on information that they've gotten in, unless they investigate. Dr. Asante, I don't know what you do make of this, that, well, out of the 21 billion we had, majority of it is based on I don't want to say rumors, but information that were provided to the committee that needs to be investigated before we can actually prove whether we can get it or not.
A very difficult one, because when you look at it, the $21 billion or so was the size of the Ghanaian economy. I mean, it's another thing that economists like my good friend Jibril will be able to speak about that. But that aside, I'm looking at the good aspect of the whole process. Even if they get one case, that is worth investigating. It's worth its while. I want them to go through and then move forward to the courts and let us see the end of it. Because take it or leave it, corruption has taken away the best of our shine. And we have to fight it head on. This morning, you heard Transparency International, the local branch, GII, talking much about corruption. It is something that takes away a lot of governance space, a lot of developmental projects, and all that. So it is something that we need to work at. So if there are properties that have been looted from the state, there are corrupt acts that people have acquired unexplained wealth, we must be able to put them into a position where they explain the source of their wealth. In every civilized society, the unexplained wealth, you account for it. And that is the spirit behind what? Good governance agenda. That you need people to be answerable for their actions and inactions and be able to tell us their source of income. It is something so important. So we need that at all times. So let them go through, even if we get one that will pass the test, it's fine. So that it serves as deterrence to others. But when we say that, most of them are rumor and all that, so it bases the whole argument. That one, I differ. Okay. Even one is bad enough. That because you can have one with a very huge, impact, and that will take people away of the realms of corruption. So let ORA continue. But my fear is that would the government have the courage to be able to prosecute people, especially when it comes to what their own people, whose name have also found expression in this exercise. And that is where I want to see leadership. When NDC people, their names also find expression on the list of what people who have also looted the states, then we see that we are in business. Otherwise, I'll continue to support it, but I want to wait toward the end of game so that I can comment.
Okay. Dr. Mohammed, you want to get a bite of that, and then we move on to other stories.
Yeah, well, if you look at what has been estimated, about 21 billion, this is about 135 times of what we receive as foreign aid from the US. So if you are able to recover this amount of money, it means that it can take us 135 years to be able to finance foreign aid. Just this money alone, 135 years to be able to finance foreign aid from the USAID.
Yeah.
So which means that we have a long way to go. If you are able to recover few of that amount of money, we are owing over let's say $80 billion as a form of debt. $20 billion is gone. So if we are able to get $20 billion to service our debt, you can imagine how much of the debt we can reduce by how much magnitude. So corruption has no place. We have to work very hard to ensure that we get the money back. Whatever at all we can do, we have to. Even if there are collection of information, it serves as a basis for investigation. It's very important. The order was not meant to bring out people that they are criminals. They were meant to just gather information, and the appropriate bodies should be able to prosecute. But I must caution that we don't have to take 8 years or 4 years to prosecute people involved in this. We need to have timelines. If it is given to Attorney General Department, let us quicken it just like we quicken electoral process court cases. It should be fight head on. Even if we have to marshal a lot of resources to be able to do so, we have to do that because it's really very important as a country.
Well, thank you. More stories?
Well, I think let's do another.
Well, I have the new publisher, and it says, what the heck? Macho men hijack Council of State elections, beat journalists, scatter everything. It's a shame, really. But we already dealt with that story. Tanko wins Volta Region Council of State by 67%. Mahama sacks all workers appointed after December 7th. We've dealt with all those stories already. And then the Accra Times, African speakers taken to task to address transnational challenges. And the Speaker of Parliament's photo is here. In fact, yesterday I saw an article about the Speaker asking that they should exorcise the chamber because there's something they're promoting disorderliness.
Yes. So he says they have to take their prayers, their end-of-month prayers to the chamber to exercise.
I mean, we're coming from where President John Dramani Mahama is saying pray and fast for the country, and now the Speaker is saying let's exercise.
We believe in prayers, don't we?
Do you?
Yes.
You think our problems will be solved with prayers?
Well, but we're a country we're a Christian country, don't we?
Not all of us.
Not yes, but majority.
Well.
And we believe in prayers.
Let's see what our resource
Let's take the prayers to the chamber.
Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante, so we need prayers in the chamber, the Speaker of Parliament says. What do you say?
Sweetie, it's very interesting. See, I am a religious person.
Yeah.
I'm not a Christian, neither am I a Muslim. I'm a traditional person.
Okay.
But I also believe in my faith. But you see, the attitude of prayer doesn't solve any problem. Put them aside and let's work. Because if we're talking about prayers, then we must as well fold our arms and then allow prayers to clean our street for us, get employment and all that. I respect prayer. I respect that. But let's do the practical thing. Let's be realistic and work. You know, I'm not surprised we are hearing this because you see, if you read Ghana and the Rollins Factor by...
Oh, unfortunately, that's our time, but I don't know what happened. Right.
He organized a week prayer. A week prayer to solve Ghanaian problems. And then he followed up with essay competition. Whoever essay we made the best will be used to run the affairs of the... This is ridiculous from my champion and all that. We are saying that, and that is why Aristotle has always provided a guide, that politics must be handled by those who are intellectually fit, because it's an intellectual exercise.
Right.
Anybody without that knowledge, I'm afraid you are in a wrong camp.
Doc, I'm sorry, I have to take the wind out of your sails because that's our time.
Right.
Dr. Mohammed, just a quick bite and then we have to go.
Well, it's a contest of ideas. So the fact of the matter is that I don't think, yes, I'm a Muslim, all right. Prayer is very important. Pray behind the scenes, but do the work. You cannot pray and pray and pray without working. You have to work. Let's put in the best strategies in place to ensure that we don't have some of these problems happening in Parliament. Right. What are the measures the Speaker is putting in place? What are the modus operandi should Parliament operate? What kind of the punishment incentives are available for people who misbehave? These are the things we should be doing so that we can stop some of these problems that we have in Parliament.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Right. That there's Dr. Jibril Mohammed, Senior Lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School.
Yeah.
Kojo, get ready to go and man Karababush.
But I'm not sure the Speaker meant that is only prayers.
Yeah.
We have to back it with work.
Yeah.
But we should believe in it.
Well, that's all the time we have for News Review segment. Stay because sports comes up next, anchored by Muftan Abil Abdullah. We'll be right back.